now we have everything removed and everything is cleaned up. Now if yours is still dirty, then make sure you clean it all up with isopropyl alcohol and Q-tips, paper towels, just whatever you need to get in there and get it all clean. I've got mine cleaned and it's already lubricated. So now that it's totally disassembled, let's put it back together so you can see how it went. Unless, of course, you just want to watch what we just did on film backwards. But let me just do it for you so you can see. Alright, let's put the wires for the switch back in its little place and make sure that the switch goes inside the little lever. Make sure, I'll hold it down and make sure there it goes. That works. Okay, now we're going to do it all in reverse order. Okay, next I'm going to take the little rick-rackety cardboard thing. And this is an important piece, believe it or not. Because what it does is it holds the top in place. Okay. Then we got a little cardboard top. That goes right on there. Then we got the little metal thing that holds it all in place. Now, if you look at this thing, it's like bent up on one side and on the curve. That's going to give it enough friction that when you press it down, it'll just hold it in place. Perfect. Okay, make sure my switch works. Good. Okay. Now it's time for us to reassemble the transmission. So, as I go, I'll be emptying my cups. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the levers in place for the sizing. Now the first one we're going to put in is the last one we took out. Okay. Now this interacts with this little mechanism here. That's the lever on top, okay? So I've got to put it around there. Now, it's all fine and dandy, but there needs to be a spring under there. So let's get our spring, the one we almost lost twice, and we will put him in there. Put him in his own cup so we wouldn't lose him. Now, a friend of mine walked in here earlier. He had a great suggestion here. Let's put the spring in before we put this in here. And his suggestion was this. Take a piece of thread, put it through the spring before it's released, and if it releases and springs off somewhere, it won't go running away from you. Now, I'm going to put him in his little hole right there. See, he's got a little hole. I got my fingers on both sides of it. Stand it up in there. Now what I'm going to do, there's a little notch where it fits into the top of the spring. So I've got to make sure that I get that in place. As I come down on it. Great. Perfect. Now, so it doesn't go running away on me, I am going to put the screw on this one. Let's get the screw in place. That way that spring can't go anywhere. Alright, now get this tightened down. I'm just going to go just a little more than finger tight. And now, notice the spring is in its place. And I'm just going to make sure that the spring is seated on its little nub there. Good. All right, that's working right. Now, the next one is for the small records. Okay. Now, this is the one we didn't have the spring for. So, I ordered a new one because I wasn't smart enough to make sure I kept the first one. And here it is, right in here. Inside this little plastic bag, there's a smaller plastic bag. And there is the new one, right there. So let me get it out. Alright, I didn't want to bore you with opening the little bag. It was so tedious. I got it on the end of my little pick here. And I'm going to put it in its hole. There it goes. Now, I'm going to pick up the little lever, which has got a little nub on there where it sits on the spring. Make sure it's seated on there. And now, I'm going to get that next screw on there. While I'm holding this down, get that screw on there. Good. Tighten it up. Just a little more than finger tight, I'm thinking. Now notice how they spring back, like they should. Now also notice that the shorter one is, it has this little piece that overlaps on the longer one. Okay? So if the longer one goes, they both go a little bit. Alright. So we got our two levers there in place. Alright. So now we have these two levers in place. Now I still have one little spring, and that one's the one that goes over here. So I'm going to keep this one handy, but I'm going to get my lever that actuates these things. Remember how these two work together. Okay, so that's in place. However, I need to put all this back together. Let's not forget that. Alright. But now that I've got this in here, well, let's hold up on this piece. Let's set that one aside for now. And let's put this back together. So first, we have this. Well, nope. Where's the piece? We got one more piece. Where'd he go? The big one that I took off of there. Here he is. See, both of these cups have pieces to the same thing. So, first, I've got to get the big spring underneath. This big one. We've got to get this guy in there. We've got to put him in first. Okay. So, he's going to go like that. So, I've got to put him here. Like that. No. This way. Like that. So that he can wrap around. Now, part of what happened is it rode up and the spring came out. So I'm going to go ahead and put the little C-clip in here so that won't come loose again. So I'm going to go ahead, grab my little C-clip, right there. I'm going to snap this guy on there first. I hold my finger on top while I peel it around with the other hand. Let me try this. Okay, part way there. Alright, looks like I've got the little snap ring in place. That was easy. Now it won't come loose while I'm trying to put that other one on. I'm trying to put the spring on. Alright, with that in place, maybe that'll make it a little bit easier. Almost. And it's in place, just like that. So, this one goes in next. And it's all oiled up. Now, this little lever goes on top of here. So put that there. Now, very carefully, I'm going to push it down on there. Because this one kind of, it's a spring, but it snaps in the top. There's like a little keeper, just like that C-clip had, or that spring clip that we just put in. It's snap ring. Kind of like a snap ring, but it's got a whole spring to it as well. And there it is. That little guy's on there. And what that does is provides tension to this little one. Then we put this other one on top, but not just yet. Let's put this on, but this has got to go in through the bottom. There it is. Now, I'm going to hold it with my finger from the bottom. You see it going up and down right there? Okay, I'm going to hold it up, put the bigger spring on top, and then there's a little E-clip that goes on top of there. See that one right there? So this whole mechanism is ready. Let's put this back together. That little lever that I was waiting on, we'll drop this in there now. Now, it's got to be on, this has got to be on before this goes down. Okay? That way when this comes up, it will make that go. Okay. Now, we can put the screws back in there. But before we do that, we have to put the piece that goes on top with it. This one right here. There it goes. That's how it goes on there. Now, put the little screws back in there. Now these are the ones that are really, really short. So your wrench might not want to grab them so well. So on some models, one of them has like a washer or a bushing on it. Mine do not. Good. We got those in place. Now, while we got this all looking pretty good, we're not quite there yet. Let's flip it over and put the tone arm back together. Okay, so we're working on this. Okay. Now, first we put that piece back in. Now you're wondering, why did that come out? Because you saw me put the spring clip on it and everything. Let me show you. If you have that happen, look at what you got here. That whole assembly is still fine. Okay? All these pieces are just like they should be. Okay? What happened is I didn't hold it from the bottom, and so it slipped right back out. So now we just slip it right back in, no problem. Okay, just like that. Okay, now hold it this time, and we will make sure the wire doesn't get all messed up. Slip the tone arm on top of it. That goes there, the bushing. Okay, so I consulted my diagram and I could see that it didn't have the bushing in there. So we're going to put it underneath. Okay. Now, once that's in there, then we've got to put the bolt back on there. Now I've got this spring that's got to go on there. It's got to go around the screw in place. Okay, now put this back down. I'm going to snap it on there so it doesn't get jostled around too much. Okay. Now that's together. Let's flip it back over. All right. Now, we have got most of this mechanism back together underneath the slide. But we're not finished yet. Okay, so now we're going to put the main cam gear in. Now, we've made sure everything is greased, of course. This has got a little bearing that's got to move, so make sure that that works, okay? Now, this will go in first. I like to line up this slot right here at the top with this here. Put that in place. Now we need to turn it over and put that spring clip, that spring washer and its clip in place. So I'm going to hold this, I'm going to flip it over, put my little spring clip on, spring washer I mean, and now we'll put the clip on. And that was simple. Let's turn that back over. Okay. Now, that's back in. Let's put the slide back in. Now this is the thing that I was talking about with the on-off lever over here. So what I found is I'm going to take this. Now remember, it's all oiled and greased in the right places. Look at the last video if you don't remember how to grease it. So we're going to take this and we're going to slip it together to get here. There. So now I got to get that one down inside there too. By golly, I think we got it. Now I gotta get the cam. The cam should come through here. Post on the cam. There. Got it in place. Alright. Now it needs its screws put in. I'm going to put this front one in first because it has this little spring on it, right like that. So put the spring in there, put the screw in there. These two screws in the back. Just a quarter turn or so, just till it snugs up. Good. Now that's in place. Now we've got to put this spring back in place. There. There. Now that's in its place. Okay. What do we have left? We have to put this back together. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to put the ball bearing in. So I'm going to take the ball bearing and I'm going to drop it right in the hole. And then I'm going to put this back in. Hear that click, click, click? That tells me I did it right. Okay. Now we'll put this little arm back on here with its screw. Okay, now all my little cups are empty. Everything except for the bearing that goes on the main turntable has been put in. So let's flip it over. Now I'm missing my knob. We'll put the knob back on there. Okay, that's in the off position right now. We're going to go ahead and put the turntable on, except we have to put the bearing in first. So I've got my bearing. It's been greased. Slide that back on there in its place. And now the turntable goes on. Now you got to hold this little thing up to get the turntable on. And I find sometimes I can grab it as the turntable is going down. And sometimes I can't. If I can't, then I take my pick. I'm going to hold it up. I'm going to hold it up with the pick. Let me try it again. There I go. It goes down. There we go. Now, I can make this thing work without plugging it in, without connecting everything, because it's strictly a mechanical device. Okay, it's just spinning because it's off. So let me turn it on. The arm lifts. And it's going to set down at that position. Now if we go into the middle, it should lift and come over. And since this arm isn't down, it should come back and set it back on the record, which it does. Now we're going to go to the last record, and this will turn it off once we come into the middle. There it goes. Lifts up, comes off, comes over. Turns off. Wonderful. Looks like we've got it finally working correctly. So, we finally got the changer mechanism on the turntable working correctly. We're going to stop here, and I'll do another episode on fixing the motor. In the next episode, we will put new motor mounts and a new idler pulley on the motor. Until next time, this is Steve from the American Garage.
Thanks for watching the American Garage. If you liked this video, hit the like button and leave your comments below. And don't forget to subscribe.